Part 1. Aki Liden host. Okay, so here's a joke. A man sitting on the veranda with his wife one night when out of the blue he says, I love you. His wife says, what that you are, or was that the beer talking? The man says, that was me talking to the beer. Maybe you found that funny. I find it hysterical. What makes a joke funny is a question that has beset the human condition since we lost our tails and start walking upright. But can science tell us today why we laugh? Scott Weems is a cognitive neuroscience and the author of the book The Science of When We Laugh and Why, and he joins us from Member Station Choir in Little Rock, Arkansas. Thanks for being with us, Scott Weems. Scott Weems, thank you very much for having me. Lydon, tell me a joke and let's break it down a little bit, would you? Sure, I should warn you talk. As a science, I'm not trained very well to tell jokes, but I'll do my best. Alright, so a dog walks in a telegraph office. And he says, I want to send a message. And the operator says, sure, what would you like to send? And the dog says, woof, woof, woof. And the operator pauses a second and goes, you know, that's only 9. You can send a 10th woof for free. And the dog replies, but that will make no sense. People never laugh when I tell that joke. I'm giggling her. Thank you, I wouldn't hold it against you if you didn't. Alright, I'm kind of getting my comedy writing sketch part here. But you are neuroscience. What makes it funny? There is one part of the brain that's worth recognizing at it's called the anterior cingulate. It's not on the surface. It's a little below and it's what we consider our conflict detector. Anytime we're confused or overwhelmed or just we have conflicting information like in the form of surprising punchline, this area gets very active. Why is conflict important in the joke? It's basically how we process things we don't understand. I mean, so much of our life is filled with conflict and not just jokes. I mean, people laugh at funerals, people laugh at tragic events. And it's because these are times when we just don't know how else to respond. I mean, humor is much broader than just a stand-up routine. It's just how we look at this moment in life where things don't make sense. So laughter is coping, bonding, listening, and safety. The sense of discovery, surprise, all these things. It is, and I think that's why it's so light, with health benefits as well. Now, humor hasn't always been looked upon so positively. You write that Plato and Jesus weren't funny. No, I mean it's really a shame. Historically, humor has not gotten a good rep. Someone actually counted the number of times that laughter occurred in the Old Testament. The total number is 29, and of those, only 2 are positive. In other words, only 2 are occasion of joy. Well, there is debate. No whether Jesus laughed, not just in the New Testament, but in his whole life. And of course, Plato hopes Nietzsche. The scholars all have very negative views towards humor because they saw it as something that weak means did. It's not something that serious people do. Do you think men and women tell jokes differently? They do. It turns out that women laugh more than men, but they are much less successful in the world of comedy. Or at least there are fewer professional female comedians, which is at the same, and people have wondered why is this. Because it's certainly not that women have less of a sense of humor. And one evolutionary theory is that the men are raised and maybe even have an evolutionary benefit to being the funny people in relationship. Women make women laugh because it's a sign of genetic fitness. A man who can make his partner laugh is more likely to be intelligent and a good caregiver. And that's also why women constantly rate sense of humor as number 1. The third trait in the math for men sometimes it's closer to number 3. After intelligence and good looks, so women maybe aren't given the benefit and the agreement to be as funny as they could or should be. You won't leave us with one less joke. Oh my, okay, I have had bad success with this in the past, but I will give it a try. 2 fish are swimming in and one looks to the other and he say, do you know how to drive this thing? Scott Weems is a cognitive neuroscience and the author of The Science of When We Laugh and Why. He joined us from the Little Rock, Arkansas. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for having me. Soundbite of music and you are listening. Part 2. That. Oh, what? But the movie is over, you sleep through the best part. Ah, I must have dozed off during the last few minutes, right? You were gone for so long you should have broke your pillow and blanket. So, what did you think about it? Well, overall, I'm a little disappointed with the movie. I mean, the story was a little bizarre, you have to admit. I mean, really, how believable is a plot about a captain who navigates his spaceship to the far reaches of the galaxy and encounters a race of frog people? I mean, come on. Come on. Ah, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, you have to admit that the special effects were awesome, and the acting wasn't bad either. Ah, come on. What about the ship's communication officer? I mean, what did you think about him? Well, wasn't a little weird to you? He was always talking to himself and he had that funny hairdo. Well, he was a little unusual. Yeah. But the ship's doctor was amazing. It was so cool when he brought the captain back to life during one of the battles. That was pretty realistic, but then the rest of the movie just went from bad to worse, and the photography was so fake. How do you know? You were snoring so loud the neighbors had to close their windows. It was that bad. Ah, well, let's go to bed. Part 3. It was on a dreary night of November that I beheld the accomplishment of my toils. With an anxiety that almost amounted to agony, I collect the instrument of life around me, that I might infuse a spark of being into the lifeless thing that lay at my feet. It was already 1 in the morning. The rain pattered dismally against the panes, and my candle was nearly burned out, when by the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open. It breathed hard, and a convulsive motion against its limbs. Can I describe my emotion at this catastrophe, or how delineate the wretch whom with such infinite pains and care I had endeavored to form? His limbs were in proportion, and I had selected his features as beautiful. Great God! His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscle and arteries beneath. His hair was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness, but this luxuriance only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes, that seemed almost of the same colors as the dune with socket in which they were set, his rough complexion and straight black lips. The different accidents of life are not so changeable as the feelings of human nature. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body. For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. I had deserted it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation. But now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart.